Deputy Andrew Doyle. Minister Andrew Doyle.
I've been asked to speak specifically on the implications of the UK-EU referendum regarding the agriculture and agri-food sector. And the result of the referendum has the potential to give rise to significant challenges for the Irish agri-food sector. And I'm keenly aware of the concerns of those working in the sector about the UK exit decision. I've just come from Dublin Castle, where the National Economic Dialogue has been taking place since 9 o'clock this morning, and both in the plenary and in the breakout session on Foodwise, which I was chairing until I got the call to come here. Brexit is inevitably a major topic. The effort is not to make it dominate what's happening, the discussions, but there's no doubt the implications of the decision has dominated the background to the dialogue. As for agriculture, the UK is by far our largest trading partner. Last year we exported almost 5.1 billion worth of agricultural products. This included almost 970 million in dairy products and more than 1.1 billion in beef products. And there are other sectors, in particular, one thinks of mushrooms and that where 80% of all that we produce that's exported goes there. Ireland is also the UK's largest destination for food imports, worth 3.8 billion. This bilateral trade takes place on the basis of a harmonised EU rules on animal and public health and labelling without complex certification, quota limits or customs duties and tariffs. And it is underpinned by the vital support of the CAP budget, to which the UK is a significant net contributor. Given these linkages, as the UK is a net importer, as I've said, of the order of 1.3 billion, both countries have a strong interest in maintaining a close agri-food trading relationship. Safeguarding the interests of the Irish agri-food sector will be central in informing the government's overall approach to all negotiations pertaining to the EU exit from the EU. My department and other agencies, in association with our stakeholders, have been given careful consideration to potential impacts of an EU exit, looking at the areas in which the greatest risks may arise and on which we will need to focus when negotiations begin. However, it is important to bear in mind that the EU treaty provides a 2-year period for negotiations of exit arrangements. I suppose we should say upon the triggering of Article 50, which we don't know when that's going to happen as yet. Within that 2-year period, existing arrangements will continue to apply. In other words, for now, trade will continue to take place on the basis of harmonised EU rules on animal and public health without complex certification, border controls, quota or tariffs. The short-term risk is actually really regarding the currency exchange, which can do significant damage if it's not addressed as a matter of urgency. And I do not underestimate the scale of the task ahead of us, but I am confident that the Department and agencies are well prepared to address the challenges presented. The resilience of the Irish agri-food sector is well recognised, and this, together with strong commercial relationships built up over years of trading, will help us negotiate our way through the challenges ahead. The main areas in which potential impacts are foreseen are in relation to currency fluctuations, I've said, tariffs and trade, the EU budget, regulations and standards, and custom controls and certification. The UK exit vote also raises complex issues for the fisheries sector. Very complex issues, actually. By way of example, potential differences in tariffs could restrict trade in both directions and affect traditional supply practices, particularly for raw materials. Preferential agreements already negotiated with third countries, particularly those dating back to the UK accession, could require adjustment and to take account of the UK withdrawal. Freedom of the UK to negotiate trade deals with third countries could present a competitiveness challenge for traditional suppliers such as Ireland. Over time, a different approach by the UK to the common regulations and standards currently applied could create issues and require the conclusion of mutual recognition agreements. Origin labelling could be a significant issue in terms of additional costs, possible disruption of supply patterns and consumer preferences. Border controls and certification would most likely re-emerge and would, at the very least, add to costs. However, in outlining the potential implications, we need to retain perspective. We must remember that the extent of any risk in these areas ultimately depends on the trade and other arrangements negotiated between the EU and the UK. This will remain the focus of our planning in the months ahead, and to repeat any of these challenges to our trading relationship will not kick in straight away. As part of our overall contingency planning, a dedicated unit has been established in the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine to work on all of these issues, and I will convene a consultative committee of stakeholders to ensure that a full exchange of information as negotiations proceed. Of course, the most immediate concerns for the agri-food exports centre on the exchange rate, and in that regard the Central Bank have pre-established contingency plans to deal with the potential market volatility surrounding the referendum result. The Bank will engage with the Department of Finance and individual financial institutions regarding potential risks. Actions by the ECB and other global actors will be monitored closely. I'm just finishing, Curla. In addition, I've asked Board BIA to provide practical guidelines to SMEs to assist them in dealing with marketing challenges as they arise in the short term. And just in conclusion, if I might add, the UK is more important to the agri-food sector than any other sector in the economy. Therefore, any changes to the current trading relationship will be challenging. So, my department and all our agencies will be giving these issues the very highest priority in the period ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I now call on Deputy Declan Brannock with 5 minutes.